Hello and good evening, everyone. Marcus C. Williams here. Let's talk. So we haven't done a let's talk in a little while, so let's get into it. We got quite a few things going on in the world today. I just want to talk about a couple of things real quick. So we've got a few large issues coming up. September 13th, if you live in New York State, there is a court case in the city of Rochester, right on East Avenue at the Supreme Court. So this is very interesting. We've got a court case coming up. And guess what the court case is for? It's for internment camps. That's right. We've got a case coming up for the New York State Supreme Court in Washington. It starts September 13th, right on East Main Street at the Supreme Court right there. And it's going to be for internment camps in New York State. Now you'll say, Marcus, what do you mean internment camps? I thought those were things that don't exist anymore. We haven't done internment camps for years. Or if you don't know, we did used to have internment camps in America. We had internment camps for the Nazis. We had internment camp for Japanese citizens. Japanese citizens were interned in this country, and we know the history of wrongful internment of the Black populace and Black citizens in this country. So we need not even go into that. Or we could talk about the internment of Puerto Ricans on Puerto Rico, which is a whole separate conversation, but y'all not ready for that tonight. So let's talk about this court case real quick. The governor, High Priestess Kathy Hochul, has stated that she wants internment camps in New York State. So you'll say, wait, she did what? Yes, she did that. So let me give you a brief background on how we got here. There was a bill in the state assembly, A416, and myself and many others pushed back vigorously against that bill. So this bill came up right about 2-3 years ago now. Yeah, probably 3 years ago because there was an election last year. So about 3-4 years ago, it was a reformation of a bill that had previously been put into assembly but had never made it out of committee. Now, this bill A416, I encourage you guys all to go look it up on the New York State Assembly website. You can still read the text there. The bill roughly read like this, and this is not a joke. This is how vague the language was. If you may have possibly been in contact with somebody who could maybe be considered a threat to public safety, a threat to public health, or a concern for public health, that you can be taken and put and held for up to 10 days without a lawyer. And then after the 10th day, if they decide to give you a lawyer, then they can give you a lawyer, or they can decide not to, but they have to, in that time period, decide on whether or not to give you one. But they can snatch you out of your house. They can snatch your children out of your house, and they can do basically whatever they want. Now, it's very interesting, and this goes with the theme that we have this evening of government overreach, because government overreach in our country has gone way too far. And this is one of those instances. Now, many of us fought hard to get people aware of this bill, and we were thankfully able enough to get some people aware and to get many state senators and state assemblymen and even some federal representatives like Mike Lawler, who is a representative for federal government. We've got, what's his name, Senator Borrello, and some other great people that are in politics in New York State and representing New York State to help push back against this particular bill and its sister bill in the Senate. So what happened is they made a stand for us, for all of us. And we were able to get it kicked out of the state assembly. Now, let me explain the state assembly and how the state assembly and the state legislature works. So you've got Kathy Hochul. She's the governor. She's on top. She doesn't really write laws. She can propose concepts, vague concepts of legislation or whatever the case is, but she doesn't really write anything. So that's one thing. Then we've got the Senate and we've got the state assembly. So the state assembly is the one that usually proposes the laws. Their job is to propose laws, pass laws, and they also have control over the budget. The state senate is for appointments and passing laws that come from the assembly to them, and then they send the bill to the governor if they authorize it. Now in New York State, we have one party rule. That means that we have one party that controls I was going to say all three houses, right? But both houses of the state legislature, as well as the governor's seat, which is the Democrats in New York State. Now, they were just loving this bill. Now, I told you we had some state representatives and some federal representatives for New York State that pushed back against this. Not one was a Democrat, and that's a very sad thing. Because I know there are some good-minded Democrats out there that are level-headed and can see that a lot of the things that our government, both on the state and the federal level, are doing is serious government overreach and completely outside of their legal realm of ability to do. But people have to stand up and push back. Otherwise, they will continue to do whatever they can because nobody's going to stand up. So now we were able to get it thrown out of the New York State Assembly. And then the governor, okay, because, she wants to do whatever she wants. She wants absolute authority over New York State. We saw this in a similar case with, and I digress for a second, with the Second Amendment bills that we have in New York State, which are all unconstitutional, but that's a separate conversation. But specifically the may issues, the fact that we were a may issue state, and the law very clearly says shall not infringe upon Second Amendment rights. And it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can't be a may issue state. You should have to be a shall issue state. So you have to really have a reason not to issue a permit for somebody to own a firearm. And this is important in relevance to what I'm talking about with the internment camps because of the next thing that happened after that bill. So when the Supreme Court handed down that verdict, Kathy Hochul, the high priestess, Governor Kathy, said, F the U.S. Supreme Court. I do what I wanna. You can't tell me what to do in my state. Blase, blase, blah. Word. The United States Supreme Court can't tell you what to do. And if something is unconstitutional, even though that's the way that our Constitution is written, our United States Constitution, that's the way the Constitution is written. If you do not have yourself a pocket Constitution, reach out to me, send me a message or whatever, shoot me an email, send me a text. I'll get you one. But that is the Supreme Court's job. And she said, F the Supreme Court, I do what I want. Does that mean that New Yorkers can just be like, F the state Supreme Court, F the laws in the state, we can do what we want? I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Because that's the way that she's our leader, right? She's setting the premise for us and how we should behave, right? So, I mean, anyway, I digress, but that's where her mindset is. So with this internment camp bill, when it got thrown out of the assembly, she decided to circumvent the state assembly and the state senate. She just completely circumvented the whole state legislature, which is unconstitutional by the New York State Constitution. Our New York State Constitution says that she cannot do that. Okay, so basically, she said F our U.S. Constitution and F the state Constitution. She does what she wants. That's just very not so okay. Now, the real concerning thing about that is when she said that in reference to the internment camp bill, she forced it through Health and Human Services as a Health and Human Service regulation. So the Senator Barillo, Representative Mike Lawler, a couple of other people, and remember, there are no Democrats that stood up against this insanity. She completely circumvented the state legislature, which is illegal by the state constitution, by the New York State Constitution. She completely cut them out and did what she wanted to. She did not go by the rule of law in our state. But none of the Democrats stood up and pushed back against her. It's very concerning. If you see your own people doing wrong, you're supposed to be the first people to stand up and hold them accountable. That's a problem. So what happened is these couple of people, Senator Barillo and a couple of other people, were able to take this to court with the great attorney, Bobby Ann Cox. Bobby Ann Cox is so great, and we are so thankful for her as New Yorkers. Even if you don't even know who you are, you need to be very thankful to her. Look her up and see what she's about. She has done great work with this case, and she was able to take this to the New York State Supreme Court, and she got it thrown out. Well, she got the health regulations thrown out, right? And then guess what? Guess what the high priestess, Governor Kathy, did after that? She said, absolutely not. I want internment camps. I'm going to lock people up in New York State because I'm going to do what the hell I want to, because anybody that objects to something that I don't want or doesn't want to listen to me, we're going to put them in internment camps. Because Kathy Hochul does what she wants. So she appealed the New York State Supreme Court's decision to make it so that she can't put people in internment camps. It's crazy. This is our state right now. People, some of you watching this now, voted for this woman. You should be appalled. You just want to randomly throw people in internment camps? Listen, that's not what our country is about. And I don't care how you feel about an infectious disease or a pretend disease or a climate lockdown or a this or a that or any reason to just randomly lock people up, suspicion of whatever, to just lock people up without due diligence and actually having a court case which says that they should be locked up. Like, you can't do, like, that's wrong. That's un-American. Or you'll say, well, Marcus, America has put people in internment before. Yeah. But we abolished slavery, right? Because it was wrong. We stopped the Japanese internment camps in America because it was wrong. Just because we did it doesn't mean that it was right. You understand what I'm saying? There's people do stuff all the time. Just because they do it doesn't mean that it's right. And it's up to us, the people who are better and know better, that know that it's not right, to stand up. And not enough people are standing up or speaking up. And that is a problem. So I'm letting you guys know about this case right now. Now, it comes up, like I said, September 13th in the city of Rochester. This will be in the Supreme Court in the city of Rochester, right on East Avenue. I forget what the street that intersection is right there, but by the old RG&E building, right near Gibbs Street and East Avenue. That's where it's going to be. So that's September 13th. So if you can come out and just show your support, that would be awesome. So this is government overreach at its finest. So 2 government overreaches in New York State, just like that, bing, bang, boom, back to back. First, the overreach on the internment camps, then the overreach on the Second Amendment rights and the U.S. Supreme Court decision. And it's too much. And it continues on. And this is government overreach beyond anything that's okay. But a lot of New Yorkers and a lot of Americans don't see what's going on. But New York State is not the only state that's got this issue going on right now with government overreach. It's serious. It's going on all over the place. So another big thing right now, parental rights. Parental rights are very much so important. They're the rights of the parents of a child, okay, that says that the parental rights of a parent, excuse me, drink water, says that parental rights of a parent basically overrule what the government wants to do willy-nilly with your child. And that's a very, very serious thing. Yes, internment camps. We should all protest downtown to draw their attention. Truth Rising says. Yes, that's very, very important. Truth Rising, if you can drop the time of the protest and of the start of the trial in the comments there, I'll read it out. I can't remember. I want to say it starts at 9, but don't get me going on that. But anyway, back to parental rights. Parental rights are very important because it says the government can't just do whatever they want with your children, that you, the parents, have the overall decision on what can happen with your children. So now in California, they've made it illegal for parents not to affirm the gender of the child that they bore as far as the child identifies. Okay, now this might hurt somebody's feelings or trigger somebody somewhere or whatever the case is. So if you're easily triggered, shut it off now. You have been warned. So now here's the deal. You cannot be something that you are not born as if it pertains to gender. Very specifically. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. There are no other genders. There is nothing else. Anything else is a lie or mental sickness. Okay? Something is wrong with you in the head. Okay? And people will say, oh, you're not. It's not a problem. You shouldn't say stuff like, are you sick too? Or are you just endorsing pandemonium and insanity? Okay, you are enabling these people who desperately need help. Okay, but what's worse than that is, like, we're not talking about adults here, right? So I need to make sure that I'm making this clear. We're not talking about adults, even though I am kind of talking about it just in general. But what we're talking about is them saying that this is okay for children to decide. Okay, children, we're talking about like 5, 6, 7, 10 years old. Decide on what gender they are. You mean like 5-year-olds? You mean like 5-year-olds that tell you that they want to be a fire truck? I know 5-year-olds that have told me that they want to be a fire truck. How can you be a fire truck? You're not a transformer. What are you? How you going to do that? How you going to do that? And they'll be dead serious with you. And if you've ever had or babysat a small child, you'll know they'll say that they're anything. You know, you're like, I'm Superman. You're not Superman. I'm Superman. They're not Superman. They'd be serious, so serious with you that they are Superman. Okay? What are you going to let them jump off the top of a building because they're Superman? Like, come on. You're going to affirm that? And now they've got it where schools are telling kids that it's okay that they can identify as a dog or a cat. And you'll say, Marcus, that's not happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening all across our country. It's happening here in New York State. It's happening not far from here. Okay? In the surrounding suburban areas here. Okay? Of Rochester, in Monroe County. It's happening. Okay? But in California, they're saying that it is illegal for a parent, somebody that birthed this child, the people who gave these children their chromosomes, that if they do not affirm the self-identified gender or identity of these children, that they can be put in jail or have their children taken from them, or both. Parental rights, government overstepping. Drink water. The government has no business, okay, overstepping in such a way like that. This is not the way that our country was founded. This is unfounded. You like what I did right there, right? I thought it was funny. I'm laughing on the inside. But it's insane. Like, you cannot do that. Well, you'll say, well, Marcus, but obviously and clearly they are doing. Again, back to what I said before. Just because they are doing it doesn't make it okay. It is not okay to snatch somebody's children away from them because they refuse to affirm a gender, which is not the gender that they bore that child as. They had the child. They know what the chromosomes are that they gave the child, child came out. Did it have wedding tackle or did it have a slit? I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how these censors work. You know, they get all sensitive and stuff like that. You know, a PP or a JJ, right? Like, you know what your child had when it came out of the womb. So unless the rare experience is that it was born as a hermaphrodite with both sexual organs, you understand what I'm saying? It's not okay for you to say that you're going to snatch away somebody's children if they don't agree with a new identity that they've adopted on their sexuality or their gender identity and their youth, right? Like, we're not talking about adults. We're not talking about 18, okay, or higher. We're talking about small children, 5, 6, 7, 10. That's what this law says in California, that the government can rip away your children from you if you do not agree with that. And this is government overreach at its finest. It's absolutely unacceptable. And we continue to see more and more government overreach pervading throughout our nation. And we must, as people of good sense and good mind, we must stand up and we must speak up. We must push back against this insanity. We must educate other people and say, hey, this is going on. Let me show you where it's going on. Because people do not believe that it's happening. People do not believe that there are children out there that are identifying as animals in their schools or propagating this nonsense, even though we know that in Monroe County, it's happening right here. And I don't know where you live, but it might be happening there where you are too. And the teachers and stuff are doing it and they're pushing it. On top of that, what makes it even worse than that is many places in the country are making it illegal for the teachers to tell the parents that their child is identifying in a different way than what they are born. They're making it illegal for the teachers to tell the parents that their child wants to identify as another thing that they're not. What? Who is okay with that? Who is okay with that? And here's my warning on that point. And I need to make myself very crystal clear here. This is leading the way and breaking the ground for them to encourage youth sexuality with adults. Okay. It is coming. You need to wake up. You'll say, oh, well, Marcus, that's not happening. Yes, it is. Yes, it is happening because they've already got these boy love and girl love people out here that are all like this and that and the third, and they got their own flag and all this craziness. We've already had many different high level Ivy League institutions saying, oh, well, it's okay to be sexually attracted to very small children. No, that's not okay. There is something wrong there. That is a sickness. That is a perversion. And more so than that, they're trying to normalize that perversion enough so that people can act on it. You got to be cognizant and you got to really look at what's happening. And they're trying to push all of this through the alphabetism, the LGBTHIUQ nonsense that they've got going on, because that also has gotten so far away from where it used to be, right? Like it used to, the alphabet movement used to be about tolerance and acceptance and peace and stuff like that. Now it's all militarized and all, you don't have to be what you actually are, and let's erase gender, which erases homosexuals completely, right? Because homosexuals, gays, and lesbians, and bisexuals by extension, they identify as people who are attracted to people of the same gender. So if you erase gender, then you're erasing gays, lesbians, and bisexuals. They are being erased. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pontificate on whether a lifestyle is right, wrong, or indifferent, but I need you to think about that they are legitimately erasing straight people, erasing gay people. You know, it's insane because they want people to be whatever they want, a bird, a crow, a ghost. They have ghost pronouns. Like, what the hell? What is it? What's wrong with you? It's a sickness. It's a sickness. And people are pushing this. And again, let me get real close to so you can understand what's really going on. What is really going on is they are opening up all of this. Oh, youth can decide on whatever they are and whatever they want so that they can normalize children being able to consent to sexual acts with adults. I am telling you this because we are seeing it and they are starting to say it publicly more and more and more. Did you guys see the guy? I want to say it was at Penn State. Now, this is a teacher at Penn State. I'm 98% sure it's Penn State. Y'all can check it and drop a comment later if it's not Penn State, but I'm 90% sure it's Penn State. This guy was banging his dog in the woods. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Okay, quick note. The internment camp case on East Ave in Rochester, New York, September 13th. It starts at 10 a.m. So they're going to start down there to do a brief protest and then possibly go into the trial to sit in the trial as moral support because I believe it's an open trial. But anyway, back to what I was saying. They are pushing this so that the children are going to be able to consent to having sex with adults. And this guy, he's a tenured professor at Penn State, I think it was, and he's out there banging his dog in the woods, and then he's talking about it like it's normal. Oh, I just do that to blow off steam. It's okay. I've been doing it for years. And these are the people. These are the people that are telling you that all of this stuff is okay with your children. These are the people who are encouraging you to teach this stuff to your children. These are the people who are saying that all of this insanity is okay. They have nothing wholesome. They do not care about these children. They do not care about you. They do not care about morality. They do not care about rights or righteousness. They care about nothing. Okay? That's why they are pushing this insanity. This is wrong. And people of good mind and good conscience must stand up and push back against it, because it's becoming more and more widespread. And it's just these people that are in power that have got this warped sense of mind and stuff. And it's like, you guys know, right? Like for years, like this isn't something new that we've had a thought on. Like if you're an American, for decades, we always knew that the people at the top of the pyramid, all the elites and most of the politicians, are pedophiles. That's not new. We just seen more and more of it come to light over the last couple of years. It's not new news, right? So it's just more common that we're hearing about it now publicly, right? Because it was happening before, it just wasn't public. You know, we still didn't get that Epstein client list. We got some people, lists of all these celebrities and royalty that actually went to his island, which is just a crazy list in and of itself. And we got other lists of his financiers and stuff like that, but we don't have the actual client list fully. But that's just one breath of the whole scope of what's going on. This is wrong. And this is what they're pushing. They're going to, and you wonder why they're allowing all of these illegal alien children into this country that just poof, go missing. Poof, go missing. And we know for a fact that many of them are being human trafficked, and many of them are given to, what do they call them? The resident families and supposed people that are their family in the country. I'm not able to remember the name off the top of my head, what they call them right now. And then they disappear. We never see them again. We never hear about them again or anything. It's a very, very serious problem. We know that there have been thousands of children that have come into this country with people that are not actually their parents or their relatives. And we know that that has happened because we had the DNA test to prove it. Now, Now, I'm not very big on the government mass DNA testing anybody. I'm not really big on the government DNA testing anybody. I don't trust them. I love my country, okay, but I know my government don't do right because they ain't never done right, okay? And that's another part of the problem. These same people out here, especially, and if you feel some type of way, it is what it is. The liberals and the progressives are like, oh, the government is racist. The government is going after black people. The government hates black people or whatever. But the second that you tell them, oh, well, the government is doing stuff that's actually harming people, they're like, no, that can't be. The government would never do that. But you just told me that they're doing this, that they're corrupt, that they're funded by corporations, that they're funded by big oil, that they're funded by this, they're funded by that, the military industrial complex, medical industrial complex, the government is racist. But when I tell you that the government is doing this and it's hurting the people, you're like, no, that's not happening. Come again? Come again? What? Now, what? Come on now. Come off it. But that's very, very serious. They're trying to normalize this pedophilia so that they can actually do terrible stuff to children sexually. And we know that in the US, our country is the number one consumer of child sex slaves. That's not a made up thing. You can go look it up. Okay, that is a real thing. And there are more people in slavery today than there have ever been in the history of the world. And many of them are sex slaves. I'd go to say that a large majority of them are sex slaves. And that's a very serious problem, but I'm not going to hamper on this because we got other stuff to talk about that's insane government overreach too. Now, we've really got to talk about what's going on in Albuquerque. What happened just today in Albuquerque? So the Albuquerque, if you know anything about New Mexico is an open carry state. They're strong Second Amendment, even though they've turned very Democrat in the last couple of years, whatever the case is, in many areas. Also, this is a very, very dire warning because I told you earlier, if you've been with us this whole time, you heard me talk about Kathy Hochul, the Second Amendment in New York State, and how she told the United States Supreme Court to go F themselves on the Second Amendment and that she does what she wants. She said this publicly. She didn't say the F them, but she said, I'm not going to listen to them. I do what I want. That's what she said out her mouth, out her, look it up. Like, I'm not able to make this up. It's insane. You don't tell us what to do in New York. We do what we want. Anyway, but this goes into what happened in New Mexico today. And I'm going to bring all of this back to the internment camps. Now, watch this. So, in New Mexico today, the governor of New Mexico, what's the governor of New Mexico's name? I can't remember the governor of New Mexico's name. Governor of New Mexico is Lujan, I don't know, Lujan Grisham or something like that is the governor of New Mexico, something crazy. So she said, listen, I am suspending, executive order, I am suspending open carry and concealed carry in Albuquerque. Stop. What happened? Executive order, again, circumventing the complete state legislature, executive order, I am taking away your constitutional rights. For 30 days, she put in an executive order that says that you cannot open carry or concealed carry in Albuquerque because they've had a rise in gun crime, whatever the hell that means, right? Compared to what? How many, right? Like, you're in the West, in the Southwest, more so than anything, you know? Like, you still don't have as many murders as we do per capita in Rochester. What the hell are you talking about? What are you on about? We got some of the strictest gun regulations in the whole country, in New York State. You look at Chicago, Chicago got the strictest gun regulations in the country. And they got 60, 80, 90 shootings a weekend. And you'll be like, Marcus, you're doing hyperbole. I am not. I am absolutely not. On a good weekend, they're having 60 people shot a weekend. And they got the strongest gun laws in the whole country. Are you serious? Okay. Like, are you absolutely serious? So in Albuquerque, the governor has suspended the Second Amendment completely. Y'all need to be taking her to court. Other states need to be taking her to court. Like, are y'all seriously just going to let this go? The woman is taking away the Second Amendment because, oh, wait for it. It's a public health emergency. It's a public health emergency. So the governor of New Mexico has suspended the Second Amendment in Albuquerque. Are y'all seriously going to sit down and let this go as if it's okay? Are we being real with ourselves? Are we going to just let our country slip away and all of our constitutional rights in the Bill of Rights, right? Like, the Bill of Rights isn't issuing us rights. The Bill of Rights is saying what our God-given rights are and restricting the government from limiting our liberties and freedoms that we were born with. Like, are y'all not paying attention? I need you to wake up. Because I can only talk on these subjects so much. I can only talk on them so long. You already know that they like to censor down, down scroll and not down scroll, whatever I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Limit circulation and all of this of stuff when I talk about it, because I'm talking about what's right and they don't want you to hear what's right. So matter of fact, while we're on it, share this, share it everywhere. If you're on YouTube, share it. If you're on Facebook, share it. If you're on Twitter, share this, because this is important information that needs to get out. The governor of New Mexico, okay, has suspended the Second Amendment in the Constitution. That's not legal, people. And if she gets away with this insanity, other people are going to get away with this insanity. We already see what's happening in New York State. The governor does whatever the fuck she wants. Excuse my language. See, I'm getting real passionate, y'all. Lord bless. She does whatever the hell she wants here. Okay? She's trying to open up internment camps. Now, let's go back to the language in New York State in that original bill, A416, in the New York State Assembly. It said, if you may have possibly come in contact with somebody who could be considered a possible threat to public health. Now, let me tell you something. When this bill got originally put in, what happened? When this bill originally got put in, I read the bill. I was extremely concerned. Okay, I was extremely concerned because that bill basically said that if anything was a possible threat to public health, that they could lock you up. Aside from if you might have been possibly near someone who could have possibly been, all that wording, crazy, right? But then the question is what is a threat to public health? So at the time, Governor Cuomo was in office, okay, when it first originally got launched, and Governor Cuomo came on the TV, and Governor Cuomo said, whew, I need a breath on this one. Governor Cuomo said that guns are a public health threat and they are a public health crisis. Lord help us all. Lord help us all. Now, let me put that in context to the actual bill. It said that if you possibly may have been around somebody who could be possibly considered to maybe a threat to public health. Now, couple that with the governor saying that guns are a public health threat, that guns are a public health issue, that guns are a public health emergency. Look it up. That's an executive thing. Governor Cuomo said that guns are a public health emergency. Then in Rochester, New York, the mayor issued a proclamation, guns are a public health emergency. Guns are a public health emergency. And gun violence is a public health emergency. Now, I need you to understand that. Now, let's put that back in context of the bill. So it says that if you may have possibly been exposed to somebody who could be considered a public health threat or public health risk, possibly. So that means that if you're a firearms owner, or if you've been around somebody that owns a firearm, or if you've been around somebody that could possibly have a firearm, or if you've been around somebody who possibly maybe could have had a firearm or been exposed to somebody that had a firearm, they can lock you up. Because language is important, especially the legalese that they put in these laws, because these are laws. This is very litigious stuff. Okay, this is legal stuff, and people need to pay attention to that. Okay, it is very important. Okay, and that goes into that internment camp bill, and they're going to be pushing that in the Court of Appeals, in the Supreme Court for Appeal, in Rochester, New York, September 13th. It starts at 10 o'clock. If you want to go out and support them to stop it from happening, go out there and support if you can, if you're not working or whatever. It's very, very important. This is dire times that we're living in, and people need to wake up as they continue to strip away our rights and liberties and freedoms. Like we were just talking about parental rights, they're stripping them away. Freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom to choose your religion, freedom of speech, freedom to redress your grievances with your government. Don't even get me started on there. I wasn't even going to talk about that tonight, but y'all know that I'm real big on redressing your grievances with your government. Okay. I do that all the time. I had to catch up with them. If I got to catch up with them in Albany, I'm going to catch up with them in Albany. If I got to go to D.C. to catch up with them in D.C., I'm going to catch up with them in D.C. If I can catch them in their office up the street from my house, I'm catching up with them in their office up the street from my house. And if you guys follow me, you've probably seen me do all of those things. Because I don't play. Because this is serious. This is our life, liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. Everything that was given and guaranteed to us in the Constitution and in our founding documents. Okay, not just the Constitution, but the Declaration of Independence. People act like it wasn't important, which goes into taxation, which we're not even talking about that tonight. We got one more topic I want to cover that's very important about this government overreach stuff. Okay, and that's what's going on in Texas. Okay, What is going on in Texas? You know, the state of the free. Drink water. The free state of Texas. Okay. So the free state of Texas has a attorney general, Ken Paxton. So these fools down there done tried to impeach this attorney general because they didn't like what the attorney general was doing, because the attorney general was actually standing up for the Constitution of both the state and the United States Constitution. And these radicals and leftists and communists and governmentally corrupt people. Now, all of these weren't Democrats, mind you. Some of them were Republicans too. Don't get it twisted. And if y'all watch me and y'all be like, oh, well, you didn't talk about Democrats. Do I though? Do I though? It's very rare that I actually say Democrats, even though many of the times the things that I'm complaining about are about Democrats. Don't get it twisted. If it's Republicans, I'll be on they behind too, especially they behind, because I am a Republican, okay? But I'm a American number one first, okay? And I'll protect your rights the same way I'll protect my rights. I'll stand up for you same way I'll stand up for myself when it comes to your rights. And that doesn't matter what flavor of politics that you are, what sexual gender orientation you are, or what your background is. I do not care. When it comes to your constitutional rights, they are very important for me. I will fight for you because it means the most to me, and we have to stick up for each other, because they can't come for somebody first and then come for somebody else, and then by the time they come for you, there won't be nobody to speak up for you. I will be there to speak up for you, okay, when it comes to constitutional rights, because that is at the foremost front of everything for our nation. You're a citizen, I'm there for your constitutional rights, okay? And I don't care what party you're in. So let me let you know right now, as a Republican, if the Republicans are doing something twisted, I'm up on they behind too. Locally, statewide, or federally, I be up on them. I ain't got no problem, because right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay? And especially since they're allegedly supposed to be the same party as me, I'm going to be all up on them even harder, which is why I take a lot of issue with a lot of Democrats that don't stand up and push back against their Democrat counterparts. That's very serious. Like, they supposed to be our you. That's how you want to be represented, but you don't think that it's right, but you won't hold them accountable? That sounds crazy to me. Okay, same thing with y'all Republicans that's out here that see these people doing stuff that they ain't got no business doing, or they voting ways that they ain't got no business voting, or they saying stuff that they ain't got no business saying, like these forever wars that Republicans are supporting. Democrats, y'all ain't got nothing to say, because y'all the biggest war hawks out there, and y'all used to be anti-war. I don't know what happened there. Y'all got to check your own house, okay? But back to the Republicans. Like these pro-war Republicans, they want these forever wars, fighting wars in foreign territories. We're not about that life. We're not about that life. That is wrong. That is anti-Republican. You ain't got no business. You are a rhino, okay? You are a sheep that is really a monster under there. Not a wolf, a monster, okay? But don't let me get too far in the woods. Let's go back to Attorney General Ken Paxton. So they started the hearing, I think it was yesterday, maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter when they started the hearing, but it might have been today that they started, because I was watching the thing today. Anyway, so they were talking and they were cross-examining one of the witnesses. So they said, hey, you went to the FBI with no evidence and said that the attorney general was guilty of, what did they say? How did they say it? Oh my goodness. What did they say? Illegal stuff, illegal activity, right? And the person that was questioning them said, did you offer any evidence to them? And then the person that they were asking the question, they were like, oh, well, we just thought that. He said, excuse me, do I need to clarify the question? Did you go with any evidence? No, we didn't have any evidence, but we felt like there might be something illegal going on there. Wait, Pop. What? Hello? What happened? You went to the FBI to try to get the FBI to investigate the attorney general with no proof of wrongdoing, no type of evidence that would support your claim. Okay? This isn't like something like there's an issue with a specific policy, or there's a suspicion of malfeasance in a process. This is a specific person, right? So now it's going outside of a process. It's going outside of a policy. It's a specific individual. So when you're saying that a specific individual is doing illegal stuff in order to get them investigated, you really have to have evidence on that. Okay? They didn't even have a real reason to believe. They felt. They thought maybe. You thought maybe? Catch a slap. Catch a slap. Are you for real right now? Like, is that the standards that we have in this country right now? Catch a slap. I swear to goodness. Because that means that you can have the FBI investigate anybody for anything, which we're not even going to talk about the FBI tonight, right? Like, I support law enforcement and all of that. I support a lot of the stuff that the FBI does, but the FBI has a long history of doing stuff that they ain't got no business doing, and that's just point blank, period. Okay, we know J. Edgar Hoover was as corrupt can be, and had all types of information and dirt on all the presidents, all the senators, and everything, and he had everybody's phones wiretapped. That's how he outlived more than, what was it, 3 or 4 presidents? Maybe, might have been 10 presidents. He was in there a long time, J. Edgar Hoover. I don't know, but he was dirty as dirty can be. Okay, and he was a cross-dresser, which he was able to hide because he's the head of the CIA. I mean, the FBI. CIA is a whole nother conversation. We ain't even. But the point is that this is known, that there has been a history of known corruption, okay, and malfeasance in the FBI. Okay, last year the FBI issued a memorandum to put informants inside Catholic Orthodox churches. Okay, more so Catholic Orthodox Church. That's a whole separate conversation on what Catholic and Orthodox is. But that basically Catholics that follow seriously adherence to Catholicism, and said that they're extremists. What is an extremist Catholic anyway? What is that? What does that even mean, right? And then the FBI director got examined on Capitol Hill, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. I didn't issue this. This was some director at some sub agency over here, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have anything to do with it. Well, but you're the director of the FBI. So if you're the director of the FBI, you are responsible for all of your subordinates. You should have this information if you're being cross-examined. You understand what I'm saying? But this just goes to show you that there is a serious gap on what's being done inside the FBI. And some of it is actually very much so politics that's being pushed, or I don't even know what you call it. Maybe idealism, one-sidedness, unequal application of the law, grievance policies, like people are going after people because they don't like them as individuals, or they don't like them as a group. And you can't do that without any actual basis. It's unacceptable. But like they did with Ken Paxton in Texas, they're like, oh, well, we feel that he might have done something illegal. You have no clue what, even. You don't know what, even. Like, you don't even have a suspicion of exactly what he did that was illegal. That's a problem. That is an absolute problem. That's like me watching John walk down the street. I think that he did something maybe possibly illegal. I don't know John from a can of paint. I don't even have a concept of what he could have done illegal, but I think that he might have done something illegal. And then trying to send the FBI after them. What type of insanity is that? And then they did send the FBI after him, which is a whole nother can of worms. And the FBI took the bait, hook, line, and sinker, because the FBI needs some fixing. I don't know, bro. Like, I want the FBI to be better and to be good, and like they're supposed to be, but I guess maybe they never were supposed to be good. But I want them to be what I want them to be in my head, which is a good law enforcement agency that works for the good of America, that upholds the Constitution and the rule of law. But we're seeing many instances where individual agents inside the FBI, or where individual field offices inside the FBI, are doing wrong stuff. And they're not being adequately punished. Okay, they're not drumming that insanity out of the FBI. They're not cleaning the house that they need to clean. And it's like people are like, oh, cops are bad. Cops are bad. Not all cops are bad, but some of them are giving them a bad name. And they must be held accountable. But that's not happening at the FBI right now. And that's a serious problem. Okay, and we're not even going to get into all of that tonight. I just wanted to talk about Mr. Paxton. Okay, so then they impeach him. And this is what the left is doing right now, the progressives. Many of the Democrats are pushing impeachment on all of their enemies to try to make them look bad and discredit them and stuff like that. Now, could you imagine if Republicans started to do that on everybody for unjust reasons? It'd be a serious issue. And I'd be the first one to say something about it. Because you know me, I don't have any type of concern about that. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I don't like the weaponization of the government against anybody, specifically, when they're actually not adhering to the law. And, well, when the people that are accusing the people of something that are trying to get the government to go after them for a specific thing, when that individual that they're accusing, actually there's no evidence or substantiation or real reason to believe anything is going on there. It's a very serious problem. So that, for me, is one of the biggest issues, again, with government overreach that we see here, especially government law enforcement overreach. And again, to go back through everything and to go back to Albuquerque in New Mexico for a moment, they suspended the Second Amendment. If the governor of New Mexico is not put in jail, in prison over this, there is no law in our country. That means that we no longer have a constitution in our country if the governor of New Mexico is not put in federal prison tomorrow. The governor of New Mexico needs to be put in federal prison. I will say it again. The governor of New Mexico needs to be put in federal prison. She has suspended the Second Amendment completely in the city of Albuquerque. That is super illegal. It's super illegal. You take out your Constitution, you go look it up, you say, hey, what's the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment says that people have the right to bear arms, right? It says that people have the right to bear arms and that shall not be infringed, right? That's what it says. It says, and I'm going to quote it because it's so important that we get it right, a well-regulated militia being the actual people of the state, okay? Because it means something different originally than what it means now, colloquially. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right to bear arms, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay? She infringed that. She broke the Constitution. She broke the Constitution. If she is not in federal prison tomorrow before breakfast, there is no rule of law in this country. We have lost our nation, and nothing even matters anymore. The whole Constitution is out of the window because that's saying that any governor of any state can throw any part of the Constitution out that they want at any given time. That means they can suspend free speech. That means that they can suspend your ability to redress your grievances with your government. That means that they can suspend the fact that you have to have reasonable search and seizure. That means that they can suspend it so that you can be put into forced internment, so that they can basically bring back slavery if they feel like it. You can get rid of the Second Amendment. You can get rid of the 13th Amendment. You can get rid of the First Amendment. You can get rid of the Third Amendment. You can get rid of the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. All the Bill of Rights. All the other constitutional rights. All of them. If that woman is not in jail, in federal prison tomorrow before breakfast, we do not have a country as America anymore. Okay? And I know some of you are like, well, Marcus, you're taking it too seriously. I am not taking it seriously enough. I could not ever take it seriously enough. This woman has suspended our constitutional rights. Okay, you'll say, well, Marcus, it's not you. You don't live in Albuquerque. Did you hear what we started off this whole thing with? What our governor said, okay, in New York State, that she doesn't give a F about the United States Supreme Court. Now you got this governor in New Mexico saying that she don't even give a F about the Constitution. They will do what they want. They will do what you let them do. And if they continue to be able to do whatever they want, we do not have a country left. This woman, the governor of New Mexico, I'm going to say it again because it bears saying again, the governor of New Mexico needs to be in federal prison tomorrow. She needs to be in cuffs. As a matter of fact, if the FBI don't come pick her up, if the U.S. Marshals don't come pick her up, okay, the United States military needs to come pick her ass up, and she needs to be tried before a military tribunal. She just completely went against her oath of office to uphold the United States Constitution. Is this for real right now? How are they not snatching her ass out of office? Excuse my language. I got a little passionate. But how are they not taking her out of office right now? How is this not happening right now? How is this going on right now? How is she able to sleep sound tonight knowing that she took away the Second Amendment of all those people? How are you as an American citizen not up in arms, literal arms right now against this woman? How dare she? And how dare you allow her to set this precedent for the rest of the governors in our country? Listen, I love y'all, okay? I love all of y'all, okay? I love all the people in the world, as Jesus would. And I especially have favorability to my American citizens. But if you are an American citizen, okay, especially if you are a Christian or a Catholic, and you allow this to go by without standing up, if you consider yourself a citizen even at all, even a little bit, and you allow this to go by and don't push to take action against this insanity, this complete, I just don't even, like, I'm not able, like, I hope you guys understand from my passion how serious this is. The governor of New Mexico, suspended the U.S. Constitution. Not only does she not have the authority to do that, it is absolutely illegal. Not only is it federally illegal, it's illegal because she took an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution. She's breaking her oath. She needs to be in federal prison tomorrow. The police need to be outside arresting her right now. How is any sheriff allowing this? What is going on in our country? We are losing everything. If this is allowed to stand, you guys, we can just kiss the whole Constitution goodbye. She suspended the whole Second Amendment. She suspended a constitutional right. Not only does a governor of a state not have that authority, it's not up to the state, it's up to the federal government. And the federal government doesn't even have that right because that is in the Bill of Rights. That is a right for the people. Unalienable right. And it says in the right shall not be infringed. Right there, plain as day. And the governor of New Mexico has suspended the Second Amendment. So open carry and concealed carry is gone. That means you cannot have a firearm outside of your house at all. Neither open nor concealed carry. And if I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a $5,000 fine if you do. This is unacceptable. And there have been many court cases in New Mexico about this. There have been many court cases in the U.S. Supreme Court about this before. And it's very clear that you are supposed to be able to take your firearm outside your house, not just for your own protection, but for hunting, but for your own safety, for the safety of your business and all types of stuff. Realistically, you don't need to have an excuse to take your firearm out of your house. You have the right to bear arms. It shall not be infringed. So says the Second Amendment. Stand up for your country. Stand up for our Constitution. You must stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well.